Hello good people, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Teddy Blessings. Well, today is a future straight moment, but different from the usual. Anyway, today I have a story. I'm going to judge you about how I got robbed in a taxi. Now, I don't know the kind of taxis you have in your countries, but in Uganda we have the matatus. Yeah, they usually carry 14 passengers. The driver sits at the front, and then the conductor, the one who collects the money from the passengers, sits with the passengers. Not these usual taxis, the cabs, the small cabs, no. And this happened a few months after I had started work. You know, I graduated and then started working. So at my workplace, I had a supervisor and a manager, but I was doing mostly field work. So sometimes my supervisor could accompany me and we work together, you know, to assess my appointments, all that stuff. So on this particular day, I was going to work alone in the morning, and then in the afternoon, my supervisor was supposed to accompany me in the field. So I had this particular appointment in the afternoon that I was supposed to first do and then join him. I remember I used to carry a laptop bag. That's where I used to put my literature, all the stuff that I needed for work. And then on the other side of the laptop bag, I used to put my wallet and my phone and some changed money. Yeah, I used to carry a wallet, I remember, and in that wallet I used to carry my national ID, my ATM cards, and then my money, like the money. And I remember during that time I used to carry my tithe along with me, because I used to tithe every month, so I could collect the money, all my tithe throughout the month, and then tithe it at the end of the month with my salary. And the mistake that I used to make was carrying it along. I used to put it in my wallet, you know, praying along with it, you know, God, you know, this is my tithe, please bless me, that stuff. And I remember on that particular day, my wallet had my tithe worth 90,000 Ugandan shillings. So after having my lunch, I remember I boarded this particular taxi at Mulago Kubiri. Sorry, Mulago Kubiri. I think it's Kubiri. Yeah, that roundabout. And I was heading to Bwaise. I had an appointment at a certain medical center. Actually, I think it was a walkable distance, not this, the Bwaise, the real Bwaise, along that road. It was a walkable distance, but I hate walking. So I had to board a taxi. Only 500 shillings is what I was supposed to pay. So when I stopped the taxi, the conductor opened for me the front door of the taxi, and I sat comfortably. I put my laptop bag on my lap. Guys, I had never heard about this thing of sikechiji, nwezology. I think it was a common slang that those thieves used to use. I had never heard about it, honestly. So when I sat, when we had just, when the driver started driving and we had hardly made 100 meters, the conductor started telling me, please close the door well, close the door properly, you haven't closed it properly. So I tried, you know, pulling the door again. Remember, they usually pass their arm through their window, and open for the passenger in front to either enter or get out. So I think that is what he was doing. Whenever I closed it, he was pulling it. So he was like, please close the door properly, you will fall. And I was like, I'm trying to close it, but I don't know why it keeps on opening itself. So he told me, use both hands. Guys, maybe at this particular moment, I would have realized, but I didn't know anything about this. I had never had people do this. So I turned to open, and that is when the passenger next to me, now I didn't know that the passenger next to me was also a thief, was part of this gang. So when I turned to close the door, the guy slipped his hand into my bag. And these guys are so lucky. He picked my phone and picked my wallet. Remember, my wallet had a lot of stuff, like I told you. So, but I didn't realize. And guys, it didn't take like a minute or two. It was less than a minute. I just turned, pulled the door with both hands, and this guy used the chance to slip his hand in my bag, picked my phone and my wallet. And in less than a minute, I had turned back. And, I concentrated. I sat and waited for me to get at my stop point. So after that, after using both hands to close the door, then the guy told me, oh, now it is locked well, it is closed well. And no sooner had I finished like closing the door than I reached my destination. So I told them to drop me at that particular point, and I got out of the taxi. And the funny part is, they told me, oh, we've disturbed you a lot. Even if you don't pay, you can retain your 500 shillings. And I was like, no, I have to pay. So I gave them the 500. Guys, even at this point, I had no thought or idea that I had been robbed. So I had to cross the road because the medical center was across. So I crossed the road and entered the medical center and met the doctor I was supposed to meet. Then afterwards, after my call, I sat down at the reception because I wanted to make a call to my supervisor, tell him that I was done with this appointment, and then I was joining him in a few. And now I had to look for my phone in my bag. And guess what? I couldn't find my phone. I was like, where could I have put my phone? Did I misplace it? I wondered whether I had left it in the doctor's room, but it wasn't there. I checked at the reception, it wasn't there. And I was like, how come? After a long search, I gave up. So now the option was to look for a payphone. So I had to look for my wallet. And on searching for it in my bag and I couldn't find it, that's when I realized that I had been robbed. And I broke. I started shivering. Yes, I started shivering. And then I cried. I'm emotional. That was the first time being robbed. I cried, and I'm the provider of my farm, so that it hurt me a lot. It hurt me a lot. I cried and I had to look for a plan B. So I remember I had to walk. Remember I told you that distance was a walkable distance, but I hated walking. So I had to inevitably walk to Molago because, the distance was not that long. So I walked to Molago, but along the way I looked for a payphone and I couldn't find it. Most of those mobile money kiosks don't have payphones. All they do is sending money, selling airtime. So I went to a particular mobile money kiosk inside Mulago Hospital. I thought they would have a payphone because I think I recalled I had seen it, but then unfortunately it wasn't there. So I beseeched the guy to help me with his phone so I could make a call to my mom. So the guy at first refused, because people use such tricks to rob, to make calls that end into robbery, end into a murder. So people are insecure with that. But I think when he saw me crying, maybe he felt pity for me. And then he gave me his phone. I first called my mom, but she wasn't picking. I don't know why. So I called my best friend then. I called her. I told her, do you know what? I've been robbed. And I have nothing. I have no money. I have no phone. So I can't reach my mom. I've tried to reach her on this phone and she's not picking. But please help me call her when she picks up, tell her I've been robbed. So if she tries to call my phone, it won't be on, it will be off. And then I told her to send me at least some money, like 5K, then, I find ways of leaving the place. So she sent me, I don't remember, I think it was 10K to that very phone because that guy was a mobile money agent. Then he gave me the money. And then I moved to the place where I had to meet my supervisor. That is where my next appointment was. So on reaching my supervisor, oh my God, he was so angry. In fact, he started quarreling. He was like, I've been calling your phone, you were not, and it was off. And supervisors have a mentality that whenever they owe our managers, whenever they call your phone and it is off, you're out of the field, you're not working, you're somewhere, you know. So I think that is what he had in his mind. So he was quarreling, and I just looked at him with tears rolling down my cheeks, and he was like, no, what's wrong? Why are you crying? I had to explain everything to him, and he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were robbed. Sorry about that. So of course I couldn't move on with the appointment. He had to make the appointment himself. So he told me, go and block your SIM card, go and block your ATM card, so they don't use it to steal your money, and such that they don't call your relatives to tell them, oh, you've been kidnapped, you need money, or you've had an accident. That is what guys do here in Uganda. You know, when they get hold of your SIM card. Guys, that was the last time I moved with my original national ID. Right now, I don't move with my national ID. The original copy, I keep it at home. I made a duplicate. That is what I move with for identification. Then if I need it, maybe for bank identification, that professional identification, that is when I move with it, a planned move with it. But never again will I ever move with my original national ID. So I left, I went to the bank. Thankfully, it was still open. I blocked my ATM card. Both, I had two, I blocked them. And then I went to the network service centers. I blocked my SIM cards and went home. I reached home still crying. Guys, I cried, I think, for like 2 days. I'm even getting emotional, you know. I don't know. It hurt me so much. It was the first time I got robbed, and I don't know. I was going through a lot. I needed the money. I needed every coin that I was making. I needed everything that that I owned. I needed it because I wasn't earning so much then. So it broke me so much. So I don't know whether that still exists. I rarely take taxis these days. But be cautious, guys, especially those in Uganda. When you're taking taxis, most of those taxis actually have, you may think you have fellow passengers when they are actually thieves or robbers. So be cautious and alert. Yeah. If you're seated at the front and anyone tells you to close the door, just tell them I've reached my destination and get out of that taxi. Like, seriously. It was a very bad experience for me, but I thank God that I went through it, and it is in the past now. What hurt me most actually was my tithe, because I had to, to repay it, to recollect it and repay it to God, because I didn't want to rob God. Yeah, but all in all, I thank God that He helped me go through it. I'm in a better place. I'm at a better point right now. I can't cry over that phone anymore, and I no longer walk with wallets, by the way. I no longer carry wallets. I no longer carry my original documents, national ID, driving permit. No. So that is it, guys. If you've ever had such an experience, you can you can narrate it in the comment section, and we'll laugh or cry together. Yeah. So guys, I've come to the end of my video. I don't know whether this was a story to enjoy, or I don't know, but yeah, be cautious, be alert, be wise, pay attention, especially if you are in UG, my motherland. So proud of it, though it makes me cry sometimes. No, I no longer cry, but if you're Ugandan, you know what we go through. But for God and my country, peace. See you in my next video. Ciao. Bye-bye.